Hey YouTube, we're going to do a door seal install, a lighted door seal install for the 2025 Land Cruiser LC250. Let's get to this thing and show you exactly what it's going to take to do this. It's a pretty simple install. When you order your parts, you'll be getting a cardboard box. It'll be probably beat up thanks to our good friends at UPS. But essentially inside, you'll get your door sills. Here's what they'll look like. Now the driver's side has a lot more slack than the passenger side. The passenger side has very little slack, and so much so that you're going to basically have to use some creative finagling by taking your sill and sliding it into position with the connector. Now your Land Cruiser, or the premium grade, I'm not sure if the 1958 has it or not, but will already be pre-wired for this, so it's pretty simple. I'm going to attempt to do this with one hand, at least the one side, to show you what's involved. And so excuse any poor videoing, but the easiest way to do this is to come to the front, and you might want to take your door, or your floor mat, get that out of the way, because the easiest part to grab is basically, here, let me get this mat out of the way. Easiest way to take these guys out is from the front. You can get your hands underneath the front side. I'm just going to use my thumb as leverage and just basically yank up, and the whole thing will just basically snap out. You've got two tabs in the front, or excuse me, the rear, two tabs in the front that are basically going to be clipping into these two slots and these two slots in the rear. You also got some fins on your door sill, and those fins will basically slide into the plastic tabs. They sandwich in between those, so it's pretty easy removal. Just again, give it a firm, quick yank out. If you try to go slow, the plastic kind of distorts and it makes it more difficult. So here's the culprit. This is the toughest part to get removed, but there is, excuse me, there is a tab right here. See if I can get that focused, that you can press down on, that will lift this center section with this rectangular hole. It will, when you push down on it, it'll lift that up. In theory, doesn't exactly work so well. Now I've already taken this thing off, hence the reason why it just came off with just a slight pull. But it does fit on there and clip pretty darn good. Once you push it down, it'll clip. And once it clips, that is, see if I can get a view of this. Come on, camera, focus. There's a little square tab, sits right up against the metal of the truck. So you have very little room to try to get this pressed down and then pull out. So what I found that works pretty good is a pick tool. Any kind of pick tool. You don't need a hook on it. Essentially, you could use an angled pick tool, and you're just going to get it. Let's see if I can show you guys here how this goes. So you're going to get your pick tool. Let's get this guy slid on there, and you're going to come up behind it and grab with your pick tool underneath that. Basically it's a flap, and twist. So up underneath it and twist up, and then pull at the same time, and it'll slide out. Okay, so once that's done, you get your new door sill. And again, driver's side's got a long wire on it, passenger side not so much. So make sure you feed it underneath this wire harness here, So you'll slide it underneath there. Passenger side, you don't have to do that with. Orient it properly. Your tab, same tab here. And again, pressing on this back side lifts that up slightly and over that little lobe, if you will. But doing it here is pretty simple. Doing it down in its slot is rather difficult. It's hard to get in here and press that down and pull it out. So again, if you just take your pick tool, maybe a flathead screwdriver or something, and just lift up, feed it up underneath there. Let's see if I can get a decent view to show you guys. What you're doing essentially is you're getting your pick tool up underneath there and you're prying up on that piece right there. I think that gives you a little demonstration. You can see it move a little bit. So all you got to do is just give it a little bit of a tug and pull forward towards the front of the vehicle while you're doing that, and it'll come right out. Again, it needs two hands to do that. That's why I wasn't going to snap it back in, because filming with one hand makes it a little difficult. So once that's done and you remove it, just line it up. You'll hear the click. If you don't hear the click, you haven't pressed far enough. Get this guy lined up, and as you can see, it's already turned on, the door's on. I'll try to get you a better view on the passenger side. That's already been completed. So get yourself lined up in the front, get yourself lined up to the rear, and you'll know when you're in the sweet spot. It'll kind of feel like it's everything's been seated, and then it's just a matter of pressing straight down. And those are those plastic fins, and then the front is just a crate. Straight down. Check your weather stripping, make sure it's not bound up underneath there, which it's not. I think you can see the effect. Again, it's daytime, so it's kind of hard to tell. I'm going to go over to the passenger side so you can see. It lit. Since it's a little bit darker over here, you should be able to see the effect. There it is. So it's a pretty cool addition. A little bit of light from when you step up into the truck. Not absolutely necessary. It's not going to help you crawl over any rocks, but it will give it a little bit more of a high-end look instead of the cheap plastic ones. I'd keep the cheap plastic ones just in case the future you decide to go back to the originals and sell your Land Cruiser, whatever you decide on doing. Rear is pretty simple. They are not lit. Let's see here, but you still see the brushed aluminum, and the backs are super simple. It's just a matter of grabbing a hold on it, lifting straight up, and then the whole piece just pops right out. There's nothing special about the back. They're super easy to do. Pull straight up, grab the new ones, clip them in. You may have one green retaining a fastener that sits about right here that's going to stay in when you pull your originals out, and that you'll have to remove because the new ones come with a new tab on it. So anyway, hope that helps you out on figuring out how to get that clip out, because like I said, the clip is the toughest part. I'm going to be posting some more videos with mods that I'm doing to this guy. If you'd like to subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated, and then I can keep you up to date on all the mods I'm doing. I've done 2 other minor mods, or actually 3. Put the BeatSonic amp in the dash. Fairly straightforward install. $300 amp. I'm going to give it maybe a 5 or a 6 out of 10. It does increase your volume ever so slightly. They say clarity in bass is improved. Bass maybe a little bit clarity. I don't hear anything. So for the $300, it may be worth it, but I'm obviously going to change that out when they come out with something a little more cleaner. I have the 2 mods I've done that I'll go over real quick with you guys, which I think is an absolute necessity. And that is your horn and hood struts. $70,000 car should have hood struts. Toyota, I guess, felt that wasn't necessary. I'm sure if you own a Land Cruiser, you're going to be a little distraught when you first open up your hood and find you've got a hood prop. Not exactly something we're looking for. Kind of reminds me of purchasing a Yaris or something. These guys are about, I'd say $49-50. You can get them on Amazon. They're super easy install. clipping out your black plastic piece. Again, just like the door seals, just pull straight up. You're going to have white tabs down here, I think about 4 or 5. They will mostly stay in the vehicle. You have to pull those out and slide them back into your panel because you're not replacing your panel. You're just basically bolting the new assembly right where one of the original ones went. This one's a little different than most. It's bolted in 2 different locations, which is kind of cool. And then you just have one bolt in the hood, the rear bolt. Make sure your hinge is basically facing right up against your part, and you'll know you have it oriented right. The horns, super simple to do. Take you about maybe 10-15 minutes max. You just take your push pins, push straight in. With all Toyotas, even the 4Runner, Tacoma, whatever, they've got these shrouds. You push in on the push pin, and you can just literally take it out with your fingernail. And you got about 10, maybe 11, I don't know, 10 or 11 of these guys to remove. One here, up top against the radiator, you got a couple. Then a couple more here, one more here. This whole piece will then just lift straight out. Once you get this lifted straight out, underneath here is your 2 horns, and you're going to find small little dinky horns. They're not trumpet horns. On Amazon you can get a Hella horn that's made specifically for the Land Cruiser, so the plug goes right in, and you have 2, I think 12 or 14 millimeter bolts, one for each horn. Unscrew those, remove the horn, take the new horn, screw it back in, and then plug it in. It's that simple, and then you get a decent sounding horn, or a horn that should have been put on this thing in the first place instead of that little, again, Yaris sounding beep beep horn. So like I said, these guys are super simple to remove. No tools necessary. Like I said, all you'll need is a 12 or 14 millimeter wrench or socket. Push down, it's done. So those are the only other 2 mods I've done to this guy, but we'll do more. We're probably going to put a king lift on it. We're going to put sliders. We're going to put a front bumper with a Warren winch, and I'll go over all that with you guys in future videos.